Hi everyone, as you know, people usually review gear as soon as they get it, and I'm no exception to this. But recently a fellow filmmaker on YouTube asked me to review a piece of gear that I've been using for more than 2 years. So here it is, my shoulder rig that I will be reviewing today. The colors and design might be familiar to some of you guys. This is now a very popular Gini Extreme 17 shoulder rig with a couple of parts from my old Gini rig. But more or less this is how Gini's Extreme 17 rig looks like. When I first got this, Gini was already a popular brand with indie filmmakers, and since then they have grown considerably. But with the growth, prices increase as well, which is not the greatest thing. So how does this stack up against the other budget brands? Well, I haven't used a lot of other proper shoulder rigs, so I can talk only from my own experience. When I first bought my first Gini rig, which was one before this one, I was absolutely blown away by quality. It was my first proper shoulder rig, and I've used Gini rigs now for more than 2 years for everything from documentary, live events to films and music videos. I bought this particular rig from old Gini website for $400 and plus $70 of postage cost or something like that. Anything like this from a big brand like Zakuro would cost at least $2,000, if not more. So I think that this rig offers an absolutely amazing value for money. I'm not saying that big brands like Zakuro, Red Rock and others are bad. I'm sure they are amazing quality rigs, but if you know me, I'm all about value for money, and I think that something like this rig offers much more value for money than the big name brands. So let's get into the actual rig. Right at the front we have very nice ergonomic handles. The old Gini handles were quite terrible comparing to these ones. These are very grippy, have just one knob that adjusts the position of the handle. It can be all done with one hand. You don't have to take off your other hand to adjust your handle. So let's imagine that I'm on the shoulder and I feel that I need to change my handle slightly. I can undo it with the same hand, change the position, done. Same with the other one. I can change it to any position if I like it this way. I wanted this sort of handles for a long time because on my old Gini rig the handles had 2 knobs on each side and I had to adjust them with my both hands. It was very difficult to adjust. These handles are one of my favorite features of this particular rig. So next we have the accessory arm that you can see here. Again, this accessory arm has been improved. The old accessory arm was very fiddly. With this one you adjust the whole thing with just one knob and you can change the position around. This accessory arm is very useful for anything like a monitor, sound recorder, LED light. On my version of Extreme 17 rig I only received one monitor arm, but I've looked on eBay and the current version of Extreme 17 rig actually comes with 2 of these arms, so you can have monitor on one and LED or sound recorder on another. Next up we have 2 90-degree clamps which are connected together with 2 rods here and also 2 rods on the top for the top handle. I really like these 90-degree clamps because they create sort of a half cage around the camera, so they protect the camera, and you can also put some 15mm compatible accessories onto these arms too. Most importantly, I can lift my camera from the ground now by just holding this handle. Again, my Extreme 17 version came with just 2 of these 90-degree clamps. I think the current version either comes with 4 or 6. So rather than just having half cage structure, you have same thing going on from another side, so your camera is protected fully from both sides. So even if the new Extreme 17 version is a bit more expensive, you actually get more stuff with it, so probably it's still good value for money. Right in the middle of the rig you can see a base plate. It's actually two separate plates, one on the bottom, one on the top for the camera and the tripod. This is the only part of the rig that comes from my old Gini rig. I don't like the new base plate that comes with the current Gini rigs because they are very short and only suitable for DSLRs. You can't really put anything like a proper long adapter onto these base plates. Moving towards the back now, here we have the offset bracket that allows me to position the shoulder mount on my shoulder and then have the camera offset just in front of my face. Let me put a camera in there so you'll get a better idea. Again, with the quick release adapter, this is just a 10-second job. If I was using the base plate that currently comes with the Extreme 17 rig, I would have to put the camera on top, then try to screw it in at the bottom. It's not a great way when you swap in between tripod and shoulder rig and stuff like that. I much prefer quick release plates. So here's how the setup looks like. I have the camera in front of my face. I can move the shoulder pad back and forth depending how far away I want to be from the camera. I can also move the actual base plate back and forth, so I can have the camera as close to my face or as far away from my face as I want. A great thing about this sort of rigs, which are based on 15mm rods, is that you can customize them any way you want. This is more or less a standard way of putting this rig together, but you can change all of these parts around. If you have a lot of imagination, you can do anything you want with it. So next up we have the actual shoulder pad. This shoulder pad again is an upgraded version, much nicer version of Gini shoulder pad. The older one that I used to have was like a thick rubber one. It was really hard and very comfortable to have on your shoulder, especially for a long time. It wasn't really ergonomic, but this thing is much more ergonomic. It's much softer. There's some soft foam at the bottom and it feels quite nice on my shoulder. The shape of it also feels quite pleasant on my shoulder, and I much prefer this new shoulder pad that comes with the current generation of Gini rigs. And right at the back of the Gini rig we have a nice chunky weight right there. I think this is just over 1 kilo in weight, and while it doesn't offset the camera completely, it still drops if I take my hands off the handles, but it balances out the camera quite well, and I don't have to feel that I'm holding the rig just with my both hands. If I had my DSLR right on my shoulder, and you can do this with this rig if you customize it, and I had monitor on top, with this weight I could have my hands off the handles and it wouldn't drop. Because it would offset the whole thing really well. So it's really useful. I really like this weight because, again, on the old Gini rig that I used to have, the weight was about half of the size, probably about 500 grams in weight, and it was pretty much useless. I always had it there, but I never felt that it was helping me. The rig is very solid and reliable. It's made fully out of metal. There are no plastic parts. There is nothing that can really break. The knobs all work fine. I didn't have any single problem with any knobs. It's very solid rig and it adds a lot of stability to a DSLR setup. I was asked how stable the shots are with such rig, and while it's not a Steadicam, you can get really smooth shots even when walking. It's not gonna look like a flow in motion of a Steadicam, but it will be much smoother than using any small shoulder rig or just holding the camera. You may know, if you use DSLRs, that using this handheld by just holding DSLR is a very bad idea because there's way too much very fine shake. With a shoulder rig, you just can't shake the camera as quickly and as rapidly as you would be able to shake just the camera on its own. So your movement becomes much more fluid and smooth. When it comes to handheld operation, you don't get much better than a shoulder rig like this. The big brand rigs are all very similar to this one as well. The weight is a good thing, like I said, although it can get tiring if you want to use something like this for documentary or run and gun. I wouldn't advise using a big rig like that. There's just no need to use a big thing like this. Something much cheaper and smaller would do a job just great, but if you want to use this for narrative, or music videos, commercial films, then this is great because you can obviously add follow focus to this, you can add matte box at the front, any industry standard accessories that are based on 15mm rods can be added to this rig. So this is great for this proper beamed up rig that we all like. Next up, I wanted to talk about things I dislike about the rig, and to be perfectly honest with you, there are no big things that I dislike. The only thing that I don't really like, which I told you already, is the standard DSLR base plate that comes with it. This is a problem for me because I use bigger cameras as well, but if you're a DSLR user only, then you will not find any problems with that particular rig, unless you want to put quick release adapter plates like the one that I have here. Then you might not like that particular part. The older rig did have some problems like very fiddly handles and accessory arm, both of which had this very annoying knobs on each side. Then the shoulder pad was not very nice on the old rig, and the weight was useless as well. But the Extreme 17 rig does not have any of these problems, so there is nothing bad I can really say about it except that I don't like the base plate. Personally, I absolutely love this rig. I'm perfectly happy with this current setup that I have. I'm not planning to buy any other rig anytime soon. This rig has everything that I need. It would be nice to have a couple more 90-degree clamps that you get with the new version of Extreme 17, but it is what it is. It's still great. It still gives me the top handle and it protects the camera from one side, so that's much better than not having anything. So this concludes my review of my Gini rig. I hope this video was useful to you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.